Hi everyone, welcome to the session today. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Saurabhishwar Sen, Chief Mentor and Founder, Catalyst Learning Services, welcoming all of you for this very interactive and interesting session that's going to unfold in the next 1 hour. Since 2011 that I established Catalyst, we have been focused in training, mentoring, guiding young minds, students from schools, colleges, universities, working professionals about the opportunities with social science and in the social sector. Over the years, we have been relentlessly trying to mentor and build capacity in our students, in our learners, to pursue careers, professional opportunities with the social sciences and in the development sector. We have tried our best to achieve it by providing assistance, training, mentorship for the bachelor's and master's entrance tests, interviews to the social science institutions in India as well as abroad. Over the last 10 years, there has been many a learning experience till we hit possibly the greatest deterrent in most of our lives and all of our lives with the COVID-19 pandemic last year. The pandemic, along with exposing the fault lines of our social system, helped us to realize the greater importance of people who work directly with the social issues and problems like never before. It helped us to regain confidence, to realize how critical it was in a country like India, as well as globally, for creating professionals who work directly with the issues of poverty, with the issues of malnutrition, with the issues of sexual health, reproductive rights, menstrual hygiene, environmental jurisprudence, policy advocacy, climate change, ocean acidification, and the list we all know is relentlessly long. Last year, as we tried to understand as an education institution, how do we realign ourselves to keep the motivation alive of our fellow learners and our community, we were actually taken by surprise that it was not us, but our students, our alumni network, who helped us back with our efforts to contribute more meaningfully to train and guide the students. And when you are faced with a challenge like COVID-19, and as we speak, we are possibly just covered a year and 2 days since the WHO announced and declared COVID-19 as a pandemic, you look for that glimmer of hope, that spark of idea, which will enable you to regain your confidence and look at the pandemic as a pan opportunity. And when we talk of such a spark, such a glimmer of hope, I'm very happy to introduce to all of you the speaker for the session in one of our very dearest students from Catalyst, Shomopanna Shamanto, who is directly working with some very innovative and intriguing interventions in the field of social development. Shomopanna, firstly, thank you so much for taking out your time and being with us. Before I pass on the baton to Shomopanna, I would like to talk a little bit about Shomopanna's work to all of you. Shomaporna is a public policy practitioner by education, a social worker, and a Teach for India fellow. She is the co-founder of the Lali Project, an organization which envisions ending period poverty by creating young student leaders and advocates for sexual and reproductive health and rights, and menstrual hygiene and health. While completing her master's in Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Shomaporna undertook various research projects by United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and Save the Children, where she stayed and worked on physical and sexual violence faced by women in Rohingya refugee camp in Hyderabad. She has also co-authored the research paper called No Country for Young Girls, published by UNHCR. She has also undertaken many major research projects in Yavatmal, Maharashtra, where she interviewed over 100 women across 5 villages on widows of farmer suicides. She has also worked for the rehabilitation program for sex workers with Durbar Mahila Samiti in Sonagachi, West Bengal, Asia's largest red light district. An ardent human rights activist, Shomaporna went on to work with the West Bengal government on elimination of mother-to-child transmission of HIV/AIDS and was part of the National EMTCT Evaluation Team 2020. She is also certified with a master trainer in counseling under the National State AIDS Control Organization, that is NACO, under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Currently, Shomaporna is a Teach for India fellow, teaching in a low-income private school in Pune, where she also runs a relief drive called Ashay in the community. Shomaporna, it is quite mind-boggling for at least me and many of us. How do you manage to run and advocate so many things in a parallel way? So if you would like to share those points with us, with the participants who are very eager to know more about you, your stories, your inputs, your advice on how many of them would aspire ahead, how do they restructure their thoughts? I know we all are always caught with our thoughts as a student, as a young graduate. We are constantly trying to look forward to the most optimized way in which we can move ahead. So without a further ado, I would like to pass on the session to Shomaporna, and I would request all the participants to make use of this time with Shomaporna to the best of your ability and to the best possible extent. Ask Shomaporna questions, use your chat box to raise queries. We'll try our best to support your views through Shomaporna's eyes. Over to you, Shomaporna.
Thank you so much, for that introduction and just giving a brief about everything I have done. It is quite a pleasure to be here today. It is quite a pleasure to see so many people here on a Saturday evening, 5 p.m. I'm sure that you guys all have some sort of interest in social sector or in the development sector, that you're here to, listen to my journey and know a little bit better about how do you approach the sector as you go along in your career, right? I am going to answer all the questions that Sauraveshwar sir just posed towards me. I'm going to quickly share my screen before that. Sir, if you could give me a quick thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome, great. This is not going to be a one-way street where I give a lecture and you are hearing and going away from the session without taking something back to yourself. So I'm going to start today's session with a little bit of interaction with all of you. I hope English is okay. I can also speak in Hindi if needed. So please let me know if you want me to change my language at any point of time. All right. So I'm going to just take you through the pathways in the development sector. And how I'm going to go take you through is through my journey. I'm going to tell you a little bit about everything that I did, and maybe everything that I learned from my journey, and everything that I'm looking forward to impact as I go forward in the journey, in the development and the social sector. I'm going just give me a minute. Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to interact a little bit through the chat box. Okay, I'm going to flash a few statements on the chat box. And if you have heard those statements about the social sector or the development sectors, at least once by anyone, any friend, your parents, can be your teachers, can be anywhere you have read about something like this, or just in general, this is what people think according to you, and you have known about it. You're going to type a yes in the chat box. Okay, pretty simple. I'm going to flash a few texts, flash a few things about the social sector on the screen, and if you have heard about it, you will type a yes on the chat box. Okay. Great. Let's move on. Not a great career path, not as great a career path as science and commerce. Arts or humanities is not a great career path as science and commerce. If you have heard that at least once, would love for you to go to the chat box and tell a yes or a no if you have not heard. Yes, that is something I'm sure most of us have heard. Great. Let's see another statement. It does not make money. Social sector cannot give you money. You will not be as much, you'll not get so much money. It is not a very lucrative sector. Yeah, it's a mixed thing. Yes, no. Yeah, all right. Great. Let's move forward. The sector does not attract very good talent. If you are not very good with, say, with your subjects in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you will not opt for humanities. You'll only opt for humanities if you are not a good student. Yes and no, mixed crowd. Okay, great. There is no career progression when it comes to social science. You cannot get a very good, high, nice career if you're in social sciences. You will not get, you'll not be in a good career trajectory. Again, a mixed response, right? We are going to do something today. We're going to today's this and next 1 hour, we're going to try to break a few myths. I see there's a mixed response when it comes to a few of these assumptions when it comes to social sector. But trust me, most of these assumptions are wrong. Being a part of the sector for more than 5 to 6 years now, I had started with the same myths. And today I'm going to just tell you a little bit about how we go forward and break these myths, and what is this sector really looking for? What do you get out of being a part of the sector? I'm going to just skip this slide because I think so Saurabh sir has already told me what I do. I am currently a Teach for India fellow, and I've done a bunch of other things along with that. I've also have my own organization called the Lali Project, which I founded this year during the pandemic with my very dear friend Shivakshi, and yes, let's take you guys through my journey through of more around 5 to 6 years, what my education has been, how my career trajectory has taken place. When it comes to education, I did my high school, I mean my +2, my 11th and 12th grade, I did humanities from Haryana Vidya Mandir in Calcutta. After doing my high school in humanities stream, I went on to do my graduation in political science from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. At the same time, along with my graduation, the last year I also did a diploma in human rights from St. Xavier's College. Post that, I did my master's in public policy and governance from Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Hyderabad. This is what I've done in terms of my education. Now let's take a look a little bit at how my career has been based on these interests that you see that I have covered, and educationally what all I have done, right? So I worked with the UNHCR and Save the Children in conglomeration, both of them together as research associate for over a year when I was doing my master's with Tata Institute of Social Sciences. This is the report that we submitted at the end of our research. It was called No Country for Young Girls. I was looking at specific sectors like education, sexual harassment amongst girls in the community. It was an in-depth qualitative research where I stayed in the community. I interacted with them. It was over 3 to 4 months that we stayed actually in the community, and we used various qualitative and quantitative tools to come and write this report together. A team of 14 people from TIS, along with some help from Save the Children, because they knew the community that we were in. Post that, I after my masters, I directly joined this organization called Solidarity and Action Against HIV/AIDS Infection in India, Sathi, as program manager. I was looking at the EMTCT program, that was elimination of pediatric HIV, transmission of HIV/AIDS from mother to child. I was also a part of the district elimination team. This was actually a picture of all the people in the district elimination team. If you can see me quiet here in the center here, I was the youngest in the team. I was around 22 or 23. I think I was 23. I was 23 when I was a part of the DIT team, one of the youngest member, and I was looking into helping West Bengal achieve its elimination status for pediatric HIV, which I did for around a year and a half in West Bengal, in around 7 to 8 districts of West Bengal. Post that, especially during my work here at Sathi, I came across a lot of young girls, like mostly below the age of 15, and I realized that around 4.4 population of the percent of the entire population of HIV positive pregnant women in West Bengal were below 15 years of age, and 39% of all HIV infections are estimated to be among women. And I realized that I wanted to move from health sector to the education sector. Yeah, because I personally, at that point of time, as I was experimenting and exploring in the development sector, I realized that I wanted to work in the education sector in more depth, and I felt this is where we needed to work more to get, because this has direct correlation with the health outcomes, the health behavior, and the health awareness amongst the youth, the elder, the middle aged, everyone. Okay, so I wanted to take a leap from the health to education sector. Now, while doing that, I wanted to explore the education sector better, where I actually go into the grassroots level and see how the education system is in few of the most under-resourced communities of the country. And then I applied for a fellowship at Teach for India. If you guys don't know, Teach for India works with the vision of one day all children will have excellent education. They work with low-income private school and public schools, especially in classrooms which cannot afford a teacher if we would not be there, and give quality education to every children. I taught a bunch of 66 ninth graders, 8th and 9th graders and I still do teach in a low income private community in Pune, Sayadnagar. It's called Ideal English Medium School. Through the 2 years of my fellowship, I did intense community visit. I understood where are the things, what are the parts, what are the different areas that the education system really lacks. I started discussing things that is not in the curriculum, something like patriarchy or toxic masculinity or menstrual health and hygiene, which is not there in the curriculum, and how important it is to be there in the curriculum of 8th and 9th graders. I started incorporating them in my lessons, and I had this amazing experience where I got to know some of the real ground realities of the education sector. While in my Teach for India fellowship in the second year, I founded this organization called the Lali Project along with my friend who is based out of Delhi. And to tell you, we found this organization last year when COVID was at its peak. where mostly everything, especially the education system, was appearing to be very, very grim because everything was online. People are not understanding what is happening. Online model was not a model suitable for India, given the lack of access to technology to the most parts of the country. And with all those things, we wanted to shape this year, not by the things we lost, but the opportunities we actually made alive. And this was one of the opportunities we made alive. We have now also registered the organization, and we have completed our first cohort of the fellowship. The Lali Fellowship basically works on ending, the vision is to end period poverty, and we want to do it through creating adolescent leaders in the community who will go and advocate, empower systemic change and transform society. Lali Fellowship was basically a 6-month long track. It last session, or the last entire cohort of Lali Fellows, had 118 Lali Fellows. We had around 32 mentors, fellow mentors from different walks of life. There were lawyers, there were educationalists, there were people from the IT sector, everyone who were fellow mentors to these kids. We had 15 partner organizations, we had international fellow mentors, and we did all of this along with the organization called CSI, that is Child Support Initiative, based out of Nigeria. And we sort of collaborated with them, and yes, we pulled off our first cohort. We work on the 5 AQ crisis: awareness, acceptability, availability, accessibility, affordability, and quality. And we empowered these students through imparting knowledge about menstrual health and hygiene in these 5 AQ crisis, where there is lack of information. And the last phrase, we gave them an opportunity to work in the social innovation cell or a policy think tank to develop their own ideas, to identify their own problems in the community, and identify and come up with very innovative solutions. This is something that we did last year, and we are hoping to continue it full-fledged. The applications for the fellowship is going to come out very soon. If you want, you can be a part of this project as a country ambassador, because it's an international program, as a volunteer, as a collaborator, or as an intern. I will surely keep you guys posted through a catalyst about the application process that is coming out soon. Now, this is about everything I did, right? I want to tell you guys a little bit about what I learned from these past many years into the development sector. First thing is, you need to spend your time and explore which problem you want to work on. If you see my career trajectory, it will tell you that I have actually shifted from one sector to another sector to another sector. I have done my education public policy. I worked in the health policy and the health sector for a very long time. I've also done my fair amount of research, but after that, right now I'm working in the education sector. And you know what? It's completely fine. You being a part, and that is the beauty of the development sector, actually. You get the opportunity to explore which problem you want to work with, because trust me, there are so many problems right now, right? There, you look at our society and you look at the fundamental ground realities, and you will find 100 problems. And you might find your interest, but sometimes it might take time. So my first advice is, you explore as much as you can to really identify which problem you want to work on. Second is, you have to learn as much as you can through hands-on experiences. It cannot be just a course where you are learning 5 things and there is one portion you can drink and you can tell and come out and tell me that, okay, I'm ready for the social sector, I want to become a change maker. No. You cannot study this in the books. You cannot be doing a course from Coursera or from anywhere and be completely prepared for the sector. You have to get hands-on experience. So as much as hands-on experience, directly go into the ground, involve in the dirty work, talk to a few people. That is how you're going to learn about the sector. When you're entering the sector, you must have this mindset. And if you don't have it, it's high time you start cultivating it. It is something that is going to be fundamental in your growth. You need to approach this with not, okay, I want to do something really great, but you have to approach this that, okay, I am in this sector because I want to grow, not just as a professional, but as an individual. This sector has a lot to offer, but you need to come with a very, very open mind and a very, very growth mindset, because just when you enter, things might not work out for in the best way for you, but it will fall in place. You have to take every opportunity as a learning opportunity. And last and the most important, for if somebody would have told me this when I was in my school or my college days, I would have dealt with my anxiety better, is that ambiguity is fine. Sometimes in the sector, or itself in life, as you're going through this career trajectory, you will come through the work that you get at the point of time might not be actually. Okay, am I stuck? Is my voice audible?
It's fine.
It's fine. Okay, I had an internet glitch. Just technology, right? Extremely unreliable. So yes, you need to be okay with ambiguity. Sometimes you will not get clarity. You might not have a set of exact roles. That means if you're doing an IT job, you will have a 9 to 5 role. You will have 5 deliverables that you have to give, and your job is done. But when you're working in the development sector, there are not just a list of few things that you do and you're done. Because as you're doing a list of few things, you will discover there are a list of 50 other things that you want to dwell upon, you want to work on more. Maybe to do the 5 things that you have listed, you need to do 50 other things to understand the 5 things that you have listed. And all of this will result into a lot of ambiguity, which is good. That means you're learning, that means you're doing really well. So hold on to the ambiguity. If right now you're confused, ambiguous, get your clarity. But ambiguity is sometimes really fun, really, really good. And especially in the sector, you have to be okay with ambiguity sometimes. Just to tell you a little bit about the different pathways in the sectors, little bit of typo here, please pardon me. There is development management. If you are interested in organization building or org based roles, there is MSW, Master in Social Work, for more community based roles. If you are somebody, you want to get hands on understanding of the community, you want to understand the ground reality, directly work with the community, try to impact through the bottom up approach, this is your course for you. There is public policy, for policy and advocacy related careers. If you are interested in policy, you're interested in implementation of policy, you are interested in advocacy, public policy is definitely your bet. Development studies is also there if you're interested in academic research related roles. And these are only a few of the 50-60 different courses that is available. Okay, I am just giving you a little bit of understanding of what the different pathways look like. There is something called peace and conflict studies if you're interested in conflict management. There are plethora of master courses that you can do after your graduation that will be a stepping stone for you into the sector. One good thing about the development sector is none of this is in a box. It's not in a box. If you are a public policy professional, there is nothing that will stop you to get a community-based role. If you are an MSW, there is nothing that will stop you from research. If you are a researcher, that there is nothing that will stop you to get into an organization and try to build the organization. So a good thing about the development sector is it is very fluid. It is not in tangent boxes of exact job descriptions and job roles. You would have the freedom and the flexibility to move in between different sectors, different pathways. Now, I have often been asked this one question, that what does it take to work in the social sector? What does it take, right? And to that, I have, if not perfected the correct answer, but at least close to a answer that will help you prepare for your journey in the sector. It needs a combination of 3 things. Okay, head, heart, and hand. Head, you must have the ability to think, because this sector is going to challenge you every day. You are going to have the ability to think. You need to open open your mind. You need to be open to probing everything, questioning everything, and thinking as much as you can. And the approach has to be one with empathy. You have to go with your heart, all in, right? And the last one is you need to have the ability to do it. What do I mean when I say the ability to do it? There are certain skills that this sector needs. You need to start learning that, if not master it, because these skills are not exactly something that are like hard skills. Okay, these are not something like it's a course and you do it. For example, critical thinking is one of the most, if you actually see a lot of research says critical thinking is one of the topmost skill every organization is looking for. And critical thinking is not something that a course will give you, but its life experience is going to give you, right? So you need to have the ability to take action, right? So I feel with my little time I've spent in the sector, it needs to be a combination of your head, heart, and your hand. Okay. And to give a little bit more insight into what sort of skills do you need to start mastering, start working on, problem solving, which includes critical thinking and all the thinking, thinking hard routines, everything will come under problem solving. I think the last year, like COVID year, has told us and again reminded the world that few of the most important skills or things that is required to survive during the most hardest times are something that you don't directly found out of a book, but something like problem solving, because we had to problem solve into an immense level in the last year, to which we did, I think, we did pretty well given what the situation is right now. So again, this is one of the most important skills. Self-management. Why I say self-management and why is actually in the development sector self-management a very important skill is because you many times will have to take ownership of your own learning and ownership of things that you want to do. Even when I was a program manager in Sathi, or when I was a Teach for India fellow, there would be sometimes you have to work independently. You have to design your own structures. You have to be open to work efficiently without supervision, and for that, the motivation needs to come from self. Okay, so self-management is another skill that one we should be looking at when once we're talking about the social sector or development sector. It is a sector where you work with people, so you need to start working on your ability to interact with people. Communication is the key in the sector. You need to start knowing how do I communicate better, how do I network better, how do I know better, how do I know people better, how do I work with people, how do I get people from diverse background but same interest in the same room and achieve something great, right? So working with people is going to be the third skill that I want to point out. And technology use and development is an indispensable skill, which I think irrespective of whichever sector you go to, you must learn. Now, the good thing about these skills are that these are all transferable skills. Now, what do I mean by transferable skills? These skills that you learn over time are going to be transferable into whatever role you take on. Okay, you're going to learn this, and you're going to learn this in a way that you can apply it in any situation, irrespective of the exact role that you're in. These are the skills I had learned in my career. These are the skills I have used when I was a teacher. These are the skills when I used when I had to, I founded an organization and ran more than 118 fellows, 15 collaborations, 35 fellow mentors, and 18 international fellow mentors. These were the skills that I needed when I was doing research in one of the most scariest place in Hyderabad. These were the skills that I have used in different sectors of my life at different times, because these are skills that you can transfer from one role to another. And with that, I just want to tell one little bit of information that this sector has amazing opportunities, and it is financially satisfying, sustainable. It will give you exactly everything that any other role in that mainstream or profession like a teacher or a doctor might get. But if you are somebody like who is only and only bent want to work in luxurious environment, and you seek opulence all the time, this sector might not be for you, because as you enter, things are not always going to be very luxurious, and things are not going to be very opulent. Why you should be working in the development sector is because you should think that what it does for you. It can do amazing things for you as a person. You can find what problem you want to work on. You can actually make impact where you can sit and see it. Do not do it out of a misplaced sense of power. Like, don't think that, oh, if I do this and I post like 5 posts on social media about doing this social work, it is going to make me feel great. Don't do that. It is not going to make you great. A work in development section will definitely not make you great, but I can surely tell you it will have some great impact in whatever area you choose to work in. Do not think that, okay, I am very good at this, so I should do it. No. Don't think that, oh my God, I need to give back to my society. I have taken so much, and I've not given back. I am so privileged, I have to give back. And that's why I want to work in the social sector. If you enter with these mindsets, you're not going to perform really well. Your mindset is not in the right place. You will not find the right things to do. Enter with thinking that what being in the development sector can do for you. What are the problems that you choose to work on? How much are you willing to explore these? What you can do in your capacity to actually put forward an innovative solution to that problem? Right? Think of how it will help you grow and what are the things that this sector will do for you. It is a two-way process in social sector. It's not a one-way process. You come in, it does as much as for you as you do for the society or for any other cause. And I think I'm going to just end this with all of you thinking about this one thing, that think about what society you want to live in 10 years from now. Think of the ideal society. Right? Think of exactly what you want. Think of all the things that is wrong and all the things that would be right 10 years from now, and that will be the ideal society. Now you think about this, that what are you doing today to achieve that? Are you doing enough? And if you want to do enough and you want to be a part of this sector, none of the myths that we discussed in the starting of our conversation is going to should stop you. Right? And with that, everything that I kind of collated together to give you guys a glimpse of what the sector looks like comes to an end. I hope you guys got into an insight of how these different things look for you. I am happy to share this with you guys as well, but would like to open the space for any questions that you guys might have. Any questions, anything that you want to ask. Would love to interact if you guys want to do that.
Anyone with any questions, you'd be requested if you can use your mic, or you can even use the chat box. That would be really helpful. Shomapanna, thank you for a very intensive, as well as the best part, what I enjoyed was that there was such an element of great simplicity, the way you presented it. And I believe that sums up also the effectiveness of the work that you're doing. Participants, if you want to ask any questions, please go ahead with using your mic or writing on the chat box, please.
I'm getting a few in personal chat about whether the recording is going to be available. So I guess that is going to be
it is going to be available, but we would love to see if you can kindly also raise your queries.
Yeah. And feel free to ask any question. The the best part about the space would be where you, and I know question is a wrong question and a right question, so please go ahead and ask any question that that you're thinking in your mind, or anything that you want to know more about, anything you want me to clarify.
I guess we have people from a variety of backgrounds. Very interestingly, we have, if I'm not mistaken, we also have some students from school, class 12th, who are also part of the session, as well as people from college. So everyone, feel free to raise your query.
Thank you so much, Vanilla, for that question. What are different problems what I faced when I started, right? And I think one of the biggest problem that I kind of faced starting my starting your journey, or even when you're going to join the social sector, is the amount of extreme lack of motivation you will have. For me, it was a lack of motivation and support I had from my own family members, and the very less amount of evidence that what social sector actually can do for you out there. Was one of the few problems that I deal with. And I think Catalyst is one of the few learning centers that I know that helps students to map their ways into the social sector. The biggest problem was lack of knowledge. I did not know where to start. I think that is the biggest problem for everyone who wants to get a start in the social sector. They don't know where to start. They don't know where to do. And that similarly for me was one of the biggest problem. As you go on in the sector, you are going to see that there are so many things that you want to work on, because there are so many things that will give you amazing opportunity to do something really great. I think another problem that I faced into the sector is kind of understanding that what is that one sector that I'm passionate about, because it took me some time to find my calling. कि मेरे को education sector में जाना है, या I want to go to the health sector. Do I want to what is something I really want to do? That took time for me. And I think as long as you are patient and you are you have a lot of resilience to find that for yourself, that is something that helped me in my career trajectory. And you're going to start with you might have to start with a lower CTC compared to a job just exactly out of of a IT role. Maybe it might be a little lower, but it takes up, like when you start with internship and all, it's going to be little low. But as you go on, this sector is going to give you a major amazing benefit when it comes to remuneration as well. It is sometimes actually higher than a lot of people who have actually done their PhDs and are engineers and architects and doctors, because actually it takes a lot of time to build their career. For when you actually go out from a good university and you have that background, once you find that right place, you get paid pretty well. So that is one thing that I have heard people telling me many times. So it might be a problem initially, but as you go on, it is not going to be a problem for you. See a bunch of other questions. What is the thing that brings you in this field? I never enjoyed anything where I had to sit in one place and just do mechanical work. I think I have always been a very people person. I have always been very passionate about the social issues in the country and around me. I have grown up in a situation where we did not have the best of financial stability. So I started out working independently very early in my life. And I have always taken interest in the social issues in the community and in the society, starting from my own family to the larger community, to the society, to the world. And I realized very early that this is my sector. What I did not know is, if this is my sector, what do I do next? Which took me some time to carve that out. But my calling and my passion for the issues around in and around the world is something that brought me to the sector. What are the scopes
Before
after? Yeah,
Shomapanna,
Sam,
yeah,
please.
no problem, no problem. So, in fact, I wanted to just add in this context. Of course, we'll try to answer all of your questions for sure. That when I introduced Shomapanna to all of you, what we did not mention, and because it's sometimes very important that how much do you can you maintain your personality, your choices, your interests, right, in a profession, in the field that you are in. If I'm not mistaken, and Shomaporna can clarify that to me if I'm not wrong, what I know is that along with everything that Shomaporna does, that really, really extensive list of work and intervention that she's in, Shomaporna is also an avid dancer for all of you. And let me maybe ask Shomaporna that if you can also highlight that point to the participants of how, such vocation or an interest which may not be directly your profession can also add to your personality and to your value system, right, that one is bringing in. Shomapanna.
Yes, definitely. And when I talked about those skills that you saw, I think, and those are the skills I'm telling you, it's the job market what it wants right now. Along with my own experience in the sector, I think me being a dancer really helped me in my communication skills and my ability to work with people. I've been a dancer since I was 3 years old. I am a trained Kathak dancer. I have represented West Bengal into state level and national level as well, and I have won a lot of prizes. But more and most importantly, it just helped me build a lot of character. When somebody asks that what brought you to the, what brought you to the sector, and I think people from arts and from the background of performing arts have always found a lot of passion in social issues and trying to do what they can, what is their bit in the sector, and how they can make everything in the world a little bit better than whatever it is right now. I think my journey as a dancer has helped me develop those skills. I think today sitting and talking to all of you more so confidently comes from all the experiences that I have had in the childhood, dance being one of them. So all of you, whatever is your passion and whatever is your calling, apart from what you want to do professionally, my strongest advice is that it is going to feed into your profession. Do not think of these things as like things that you do, because I know a lot of us had a lot of pressure growing up. No, array, don't dance, don't, if you waste so much time in dancing or maybe drawing or maybe in poetry, how is going to help you later? Like, you need to earn. But I think to all of those, your answer should be that all of those life experiences are what is going to help you build the skills that is going to later help you in an environment, in a work environment, when you're interacting with people, not the four walls of the classroom or your or the pages of your notebooks. So that has definitely helped building the kind of person, building the kind of skills, building the kind of um, ability I have to express and communicate with people in the longer run.
Thank you so much. You can go ahead with the questions, Shomapanna.
All right. Just we are cutting very close to the time, so I think we can't take all the questions.
Right.
I don't, but
If
I'm
you,
gonna I'm gonna take a
yeah.
few. Let me just see the chat box. After MSW, can I work in the psychological sector? Lavanya, if you could tell me a little bit, like what exactly in the psychological sector are you talking about? Do you want to pursue higher studies in that, or do you want to start working in the sector? Like what? Because both of it is a possibility. I just want a little bit of clarity on the question.
Pursuing both, working and as well as, because I'm new in this field. Like right now, I'm pursuing MSW itself.
Okay. Yes, MSW as a Masters in Social Work is going to give you quite an opportunity and to work in the psychological sector. As where I used to work in my last company, Sathi, we had we had experts in psychology, in psychology, which required to interact with the HIV positive pregnant women, all coming from MSW background. We even had my own program manager was from MSW background, and he also went into psychological aspect of working in our in our organization, where he used to interact with these mothers, positive pregnant women. But one thing, just one advice is, you can also do a master's in psychology if you want to pursue exactly that sector. But if this is if this is something that you're building interest in while you are doing your MSW, you can definitely do it, because I have seen multiple examples of people in the psychological sector after MSW. Sir, would you want to add anything? Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's pretty much what is the scene with people wanting to foray into the sector of mental health, or where you apply the subject of psychology extensively. As Shomopanna rightly mentioned, that MSW broadly gives you a scope to also intervene with the mental health dimension or lens across the different fields. Some institutions, they have papers from psychology and mental health as part of the MSW discourse. I believe there are institutions where MSW is taught majorly in a very broad-based approach. Say, unlike TIS possibly, where we see many multiple sub-courses of MSW, which specialize on core issues separately. But again, as Shomopanna mentioned, there is a lot of overlap and the common ground. And of course, along with MSW, the Masters in Clinical Psychology or Masters in Counseling Psychology, a lot of institutions are blending both clinical and counseling together into a more applied psychology aspect. Some universities, including Christ University, Bangalore, they have more specialized domains in the mental health. So Lavanya, I think you can definitely Lavanya, sorry, you can definitely seek some information about it and go ahead with finalizing your track.
Thank you.
And also, like, mental health and especially SEL, like social emotional learning, is something that is no, we know it is that really sad. It took a pandemic for us to start talking about mental health, but it is a sector which is really good and booming right now. It is something that is becoming more accepting in terms of its opportunities that it is making available. So that is a very, very good sector to ponder in after your MSW currently, given, like, I think it has taken a step ahead. I have a question from Suraj. I like to enter development policy planning practice, and in course description of this, it is written it aims to make policy analyst, policy practitioner. My question is, what are the field in the development policy? Do you want to know that after doing a public policy course, what are the field you can work in, or is that your question, Suraj? Yes. Okay. I think a pretty good question for somebody like me who has done the course from TIS. I have done my master's in public policy and governance, and it is going to open a variety of opportunities for you. You can go into research. You can go into becoming public policy practitioner. And how can you do this? You become either a part of the existing government structures, but most of the government structures in most states, they do not have the expertise to implement policies, so they usually partner up with the NGO. So you can work with any NGO who is working in the in implementing that policy, and you can become a part of the implementation side. You can become a part of the formulating of the policy side. You can become a part where you just analyze public policy. You do a lot of research on public policy, try to find the gaps, try to find what is good and what is not. You can also be a part of advocacy groups. You can be a part of organizations working with organizational policies. You can be actually a part of the policy part of any sector: health, education, environment, whichever one actually appeals to you. You can be a part of any one of those as well and choose to work on the policy aspect. You can work directly with the government. We can, and especially in the public policy, post public policy, you will have mostly chance to either work directly with the government, or you'll have a chance to work with organizations working in very close tandem with the government, because many organizations like CSF, Sathi, for example, was implementing the state NACO policy of elimination. And because they did not have the expertise, they will dole it out to NGOs like this who have expertise and who are going to hire people like you if you do the same course from this, or if you choose to do it from anywhere else. So public policy is a very, very diverse discipline once you get into it, and opens up diverse career paths for you post your master's. I hope that answered your question. If you want to know more about the course, please feel free to contact me through Catalyst.
Hi, I have a question.
Hi, Shrishti, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually joined quite late, so I don't know if you have already mentioned it, but your Lali project, like, I want to know that in our country, like, period poverty is something people are not still very aware of, I guess, or that is something very important. So how easy or how difficult was it when you started off, talking with people, educating people? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Sorry, I muted myself. Thank you so much for that question, Shrishti. We started last year, I think, and in the time where just pandemic had hit us, and we were trying to do this entire blended model, everything through Zoom and all of that. So menstruation is something that in general we are never allowed to talk about, or we were shamed to talk about for the longest time, because for some weird reason that society puts the entire shame in a woman's vagina, and that is related to menstruation, and that becomes a big hush topic for everyone to talk about. Period poverty, very rightly said, is not a very common term which people knew about, but a very, very pressing one. The challenges that we faced, or I think more than I and my co-founder faced while establishing it, was, what I will tell you first, what was easy. What was easy was there are actually multiple organizations working on the different AQ, 5 AQ crisis when it comes to menstruation. So we were able to get all these organizations together and start with the fellowship. What was difficult was the fellowship model was such which had young leaders. By young leaders, I mean like 30 years old, 14-year-old people from schools who are actually living in the community, where in a very low income community where they don't talk about periods and menstruation at all. So what was difficult was to make them understand what is the importance of it. They already had some interest because they joined it because of some interest, right? What was difficult was keeping that interest alive through it, and especially when it become really difficult, where you're giving them tasks like go and talk with your mother about this or your brother about this, how that happened was really difficult for them. But what was really interesting to see is that the future of ending period pandemic is through starting the conversation. And you need to start conversation not in the most privileged of houses, where again talk of menstruation is still something that you don't do, but even where you don't, where it is the most difficult. For example, somebody coming from a very low socioeconomic background in a community where women are not allowed to go out at night, to the extent now they're talking about menstruation. So these girls started talking about it in their family, in their community, amongst their peers, with their boys. And that was what was important, just to start the conversation, to get people with a similar mindset in one platform and just start the conversation going. And that is the first step when it comes to talking about ending period poverty, is like, tell people what period poverty is. Is there a problem? If there is no problem, why are we shouting? So hear us. There is a reason that we are shouting. I think giving that platform, that opportunity to start a conversation is what is most important.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. And it's really a very good initiative, I must say, because, the more people talk, the easier it becomes to come out of that phase. So, yeah, that's very nice.
Definitely. Thank you so much for the question. I'll love to answer more questions if you have about the Lali project. If you want to join us in any way, we have bunch of things that you can do. You can be a volunteer, an intern, a fellow mentor, bunch of things. So let me know. I think let Sauraveshwar sir know through Catalyst, and I will definitely make sure that we can have another platform where I just discuss about the organization and different ways that people can be involved.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. I think we spent an hour and it just felt like few minutes. So you know that everyone was quite engaged. Always a pleasure, Shomaporna, interacting with you. And every time there's so much to learn with your work, with your thought process. And thanks for sharing simple ways of busting myths, organizing one's understanding, including one's imagination, because you mentioned about the ability to think. And when you think, one also uses certain levels of imagination, looking ahead at problems and challenges that lie around us. And I would definitely like to thank all the participants for adding to the value of the session by with your questions, allowing us to support you with your queries through the eyes of Shomaporna. As she mentioned about her project, the Lali Project, we are certainly uh, very, very keen to get this project across uh, the maximum possible resources in our country and even outside. So anyone who is keen to involve with the project, as Shomaporna mentioned, we would be very, very happy to support you with the opportunities that lie ahead. And we will certainly try and organize a separate interactive session highlighting uh, the different levels in which one can get involved with the Lali project, and we can ideate together. Also, I would like to mention that when we were uh, reaching out to all of you with today's session, we had highlighted about scholarship support that Catalyst is providing to the students and to the learners. So people who opted in for that support, you will be receiving very soon like a follow-up email from our end of how we are going about supporting you with your training, mentoring, and guidance towards a career in the social sector. Uh, and I hope that with Shomaporna's story, the sector has opened up to you even more. It has uh, presented to you the opportunity, as Shomaporna writes about the Lali Project email ID. Please make a note of it. We would be happy to see more of you getting involved and in a collective manner intervening towards a better tomorrow, right? Shomaporna, thanks for your time. After an entire week to take out time on the weekend where you possibly get some breather, but to interact with all of us and to the learners, it's been such a pleasure for all of us.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
I
much.
had such an engaging audience. I think I had a very good 1 hour interacting with all of you, and I think this is what is needed for us professionals or us in the sector who wants to see more people coming and joining and carrying the baton on in the sector. I think thank you so much everyone who will join, and I think let's keep it going. Let's take as many sessions and as many conversations possible to help you and guide you the best possible way to as you venture your path in the sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let this be the beginning, not the end of the session, but the beginning of some very, very interesting, impactful, and attractive intervention plans ahead for all of us. Right? Thank you so much. All the best to everyone. Thanks a lot, and we will catch up with you soon with more sessions down the line. Stay